I was recently going through the reviews I have made, and I noticed a massive hole in what I've actually done, and that is that I have never actually done a proper review of the Kaweco Sport, which is wild because I have one of these inked up probably about 90% of the time. I love these for everyday carry and carrying at work and stuff like that. So today I'm reviewing this pen. I have reviewed the bronze version, I've reviewed the AL, but never the standard sort of plastic, and this is the classic. So today we're going to look at that and talk about the pros and cons and why I think this is a really great pen. So please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. Please consider becoming a member of this channel, where for a small monthly fee you'll get early access to all my videos, you'll get priority comments, and once the community has grown a little bit, we'll start doing some members only Q&A sessions online as well. But right now, let's look at the fabulous Kaweco Sport. So I honestly can't believe it took me this long to make this review. Here is a range of my Kaweco Sports. Now, I have spoken about a number of these on my channel in the past. I've shown a number. I've reviewed a number of these, like the piston sports. So I have the plastic piston sport here. I have the aluminium piston sport. I have the brass, which is getting a review very soon. The bronze, which I have reviewed. The AL, which I've shown. I have the art series here, which is a lovely addition. And that one I have the twin bock nib, by the way, which is a lot of fun. I have standard sports. The iridescent here. I've got, the beautiful Red Fox one, which I think is gorgeous. I've got this amazing one that was a collaboration with Milligram, an exclusive there, a number of years ago. It's not been around for, I want to say 5 or 6 years, but I got a couple of those because this is before I even had worked at Milligram. I just thought it was beautiful. I love sage colored pens, the color in general, but having the little Milligram logo there on the side has made that a lot of fun. And of course, the 2026 DIY Sport, which is this sort of glow-in-the-dark version. I'll just quickly switch off my light, see if we can get it. There we see a bit of a glow there, just with an ambient natural light. But yes, it's a glow-in-the-dark edition. This one here is the one I've got currently sort of inked up and ready to go. This is one I use almost daily every time I go to work. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to review, finally, the Kaweco Sport fountain pen. So we'll talk about parts and features, writing sample, all that good stuff. So this is the classic navy, and I've put a clip on here. I'll take that off just for the moment because that doesn't come with it. You can buy these clips separately, and I always try to, like most of my sports, have a clip on them. But this is the classic. So the Skyline has the silver print, the classic has the gold trim. This is the navy version. Comes in a range of different nib sizes: extra fine, medium, broad, double broad, 1.1, etc. As I said, I had the twin bock on one of my other ones. I have it here in a medium because medium is my everyday go-to nib size. It is a pocket pen. It's on the small size. We'll see that when you see it alongside the Lamy Safari, but it's designed to be, and then you untwist the cap and you put it on the back and it becomes a very nice size pen in the hand. So that twist is 1.5 turns. So it's not super inconvenient and it works quite nicely on those threads. And so it's a fairly quick action for a pen that has this sort of form and function. I like it. I like the convenience of that a lot. It's just a standard plastic pen. And if you unscrew the barrel here, I have it here with a refilled cartridge that I've refilled with Ancient Copper by Diamine. I love browns with navies as a color combination, but you can get that little foldable converter or the little piston converter for these at an extra cost. The pen is not provided with a converter, which is a bugbear of mine across many, many pens. But you can get a converter for it. You just have to get the specific Kaweco Sport converters. That's it. And that's the basics of this pen. It's a faceted pen. It's got a little gold medallion in the top, nothing fancy on the end there. Nice smooth threads, small section, small gold colored nib there. Plastic feed. It's a very simple pen, and that's kind of the point. it's designed to be. It's designed to be a pen that you can carry, that you don't have to be super, super careful with. I've heard of people eyedroppering these. I've never eyedropped a Kaweco Sport by putting a bit of silicone grease on the threads and maybe even like a little O-ring somewhere if you can find the right size. And then you fill the entire barrel with ink. That to me is asking for disaster because I carry this in my pocket. I use that clip and I clip it onto my jeans pocket or onto my shirt pocket, depending on what I'm wearing. It lives in my pocket. I don't want the potential for that sort of spillage to happen. It's a simple pen. It's a lovely pen. Comes in a huge range of colors, obviously, finishes different materials. Obviously this one retails for about 55 Australian dollars, about 34 US. And things like the bronze, this when I bought this was retailing for 350 Australian. So the prices do really jump. You've got that Ebonite one, which was close to 700 Australian at full price. There's the titanium version, which I think is about 500 Australian. So yeah, there's a range of different things available, but the simple classic plastic Kaweco Sport is such a wonderful little pen. It really needs no introduction, but seeing the parts and features here, seeing that little cap liner in the end there, little medallions, the nice smooth threads, as I said, 1¼ turns. It's a reliable little pen. Just for the sake of the exercise, I have it here alongside the Lamy Safari, as well as an AL Sport and then the Art Series Sport. Now, the Art Series Sport is slightly smaller than the standard Sport. There are minuscule variations between the different versions, like the AL's a little longer. But you can see, uncapped, it is a small pen. It's designed as a pocket pen. Uncapped is not its designed writing size, but I understand a lot of people do still use it. Occasionally I will, jot down something on a to-do list or cross something off just without posting it because it's just easy. But there are people who do use it in this format, and that's absolutely great. For me, it's a little small for consistent use like that, and you can see it's a lot smaller there than the Lamy Safari. Then when it's posted, you see it's longer than the Lamy Safari unposted, but you see that the standard classic Sport there is actually longer than the AL here, and just ever so slightly longer there than the Art Series. Of course, the Lamy does post as well, and it makes it a much longer pen. But I find that the Kaweco Sport in its posted form to be quite a comfortable pen in my hand, and I think a lot of people do. But if you've got particularly big hands, you may still find this pen just a little bit on the small side. So let's talk specific dimensions of the Kaweco Sport. It's 105 millimeters when it's capped. It's 100 when it's uncapped. So yes, as I said, for me, I can tick something off a to-do list, but it's not a particularly comfortable pen in that format. And it comes up to 132 when it is posted. So it puts it back behind the webbing of my hand, very comfortable. I end up holding it a little bit on the threads there because that is a relatively sort of small section at the front there, but it's a relatively comfortable pen to write with. Around the grip is about 9.5 millimeters, around the barrel about 11, and then around the widest point of the cap is about 14 millimeters. Now the pen is exceptionally lightweight, around 10 grams, 6 in the body, 4 in the cap. Super lightweight pen, so it does disappear in your pocket a little bit. That makes it comfortable, and it's certainly comfortable for long writing sessions. I've done full journaling sessions with a Kaweco Sport in this format. It's a very comfortable pen and a very reliable writer. Now, something to take into account is the ink capacity. So, as I said, you can get a converter for this pen, but the converter that they make for this holds about 0.6 of a milliliter of ink, which isn't a whole lot. The standard cartridge that it takes is about 0.8 to 0.9 milliliters. So you're getting more if you refill one of these than you will from using the converter. If you eyedropper fill this, it's about 2.9 milliliters. So that gives you plenty of ink if you are not worried about, a leak or something like that. Okay, let's do a writing sample with the Kaweco Sport. I'll just put classic navy here. Now, I wish I could say that the nibs were super consistent. This one is a relatively fine medium. I've had ones that are considerably broader and finer. There's not a huge amount of consistency in the nibs, but there's also, unfortunately, not a huge consistency in the quality of the nibs. Most will write. A good percentage of them will write very well, but some just won't write as well as others. So, if you're buying from a retailer, just check out their returns policy and things like that. You shouldn't have a problem, but if you do, you want to know. This is a medium steel nib. As I said, it comes in extra fine, medium broad, double broad, and then a range of calligraphy size nibs you can get as well. And the ink in this is Diamine. Ancient Copper. Let's do some writing. So as I said, this one writes really nicely. It's quite smooth. It's consistent and reliable. Not the wettest pen going around, but for an everyday writer that I'm taking to work, and you're not always writing on great fountain pen friendly paper, everything, this does a really sort of pretty decent job. Reverse writing, it's a little scratchy and dries out quite quickly, but if you need to, you could probably get a word or two out. Flex, no, they're stiff nibs. With a little bit of careful pressure, you can get a little bit of line variation out, but I wouldn't be pushing it. Quick writing. Like, I don't see any issues there. It's kept up, it's reliable. It's not as wet perhaps as, sort of more considered writing, but it does the job. And that's the beauty of this pen. So I mentioned the price. I said it was about 55 Australian dollars or 34 US, depending on the retailer, depending on the sale, depending on if you buy from a big online store or something like that, you might be able to get some different prices. But I think it's a reasonable price point. It's just a little more expensive than the Lamy Safari. It's more in line with the price of the TWSBI Eco. So I think it's a reasonable price, but ideally, I'd love to see this at the sort of like 40 Australian dollar mark. It's a simple, lightweight, injected molded plastic pen. There's not a whole lot of finishing. Like, you can see seams and things, right? It's not exactly, a prestige piece here. But also, you don't necessarily want it to be. Like, I carry this one every day. You can see little marks and things on it. Like, that's from use. That's because I use this pen all the time. But it is, for a steel nib pen that doesn't come with a converter, 55, I think, is as much as I would ever be comfortable paying for a standard Kaweco Sport. So what are the pros and cons? As I said, con, maybe that price point. I think it's pushing it in reality. Especially when you can't change the nibs that easy and the nibs aren't that easy to come by, they're a little bit expensive, that kind of stuff. And especially with the price of the converter. Like, not coming with the converter is a huge con here. Like, the foldable converter is like 16 Australian dollars from some retailers. Like, that puts this to a $70 pen if you want a converter. If you want a clip as well, it's an $80 pen. This is a $10 clip. They are pushing the upper limit of the price point. The other issue is that some people find it too small, whether it's that grip section is too small, whether it's too narrow, too lightweight. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but no pen is. Could hand someone a Pilot Custom 823. They may think it's too big or too heavy or too light, or everyone's going to have issues with every pen. So if this is the right kind of pen for you, great. If not, look elsewhere. What are the pros? Okay, firstly, it's convenient. It's small, it's lightweight. The clip you get puts it into your pocket or whatever, very simply. You just uncap it, post it, and away you go. This particular nib writes very, very well. I'm very happy with it. I love the fact that there are so many colors and different versions and limited editions and store exclusives and things that they do. It opens up a world of these, like the Galen Leather special editions. That purple and that recent green, absolutely beautiful. I really love that. I do like the fact that you can get a converter for it, even though you have to pay for it. And that foldable converter is very cool. It also fits things like the Lilliput and makes you able to use bottled ink more conveniently with these pens. And even though I mentioned the price point as a con, I think it's still an affordable pen. And if it's a pen that you use all the time, that you enjoy, that you love, it's decent value. I just think you have to see that value. But yeah, cool pen, simple pen, cult classic, everywhere on places like TikTok, and I completely see why. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, and consider becoming a member of this channel. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.